one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
The storm is now making shore.
The Miami Hurricanes Watch with host Mike McCoy is on. The Watch is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. Time for hardcore Miami Hurricanes talk. Here's your host, Mike McCoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how's everybody doing? Happy New Year, January 3rd, 2023, Jordan year. Pretty cool, right? Hope everybody had a happy holidays, a safe New Year celebration, not safe New Year, but safe New Year celebration, and blessings to everybody in the new year. And I just hope everybody's doing well, man. Been a couple of weeks since we've been on here, since I've been on here, and I appreciate you for tuning in right now. So we're going to talk a couple of things because obviously there's no Miami Hurricanes game to discuss or dissect or anything like that. So I'm just going to be all over the world of college football recruiting, maybe ask some questions to the chat or maybe answer some questions to the chat. But first thing I want to start off with is saying I got to acknowledge, the Monday Night Football game last night that was not completed due to the injury that happened to Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin. And for those of you that did not catch the game or are not aware what went down, he collapsed in the middle of the game in the first half. I believe it was the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. I can't say for sure. I wasn't watching the game, excuse me, but I was made aware of what happened, saw the video. And it was disturbing. He tackles T. Higgins, routine tackle. He probably did take the brunt of that hit. I have no idea if the hit had anything to do with his collapse. I don't know, but he suffered a cardiac arrest on the field. Training staffs came out there, administered CPR. His heartbeat was restored, and he right now is in critical condition in a nearby hospital. The game was suspended. And the last I checked, there are no plans to resume the game. So that's a big deal. Everybody was distraught. Players from both teams, the Buffalo Bills players made a prayer circle, before anything was to resume. And then both coaches decided to call it quits. I mean, it's kind of hard, man, to keep your focus on something that has nothing to do with just life in general. Football is a game at the end of the day. And so, these guys get paid a king's ransom to play a child's game. But obviously, life comes ahead of that. And I'm looking right now at my TV and just looking at the reactions of his teammates while everything was happening and what was going on. And talk about grown men. Some of them don't know each other that much. Some of them do. And just to see that, if it doesn't touch your heart, then Jesus. So, I'll finish with this. If anybody out there believes in the power of prayer, please keep Damar Hamlin, friends, family, loved one in your prayers because prayer works, if you believe in it. And I'll go ahead and move on to something that happened today rather than yesterday. Actually just concluded on ESPN2 for those of you that are interested and, keep your tabs on high school football recruiting. Today was the Under Armour All-Star game held in Tampa, or I think it was in Orlando this year. I can't say for sure. I think it was in Orlando in Camping World Stadium. I had no interest in watching the game. Pretty much because there was really no drama for Miami football fans, which is a good thing. Nobody expected to make an announcement or anything like that. But I do want to go ahead and highlight the players that played today on the team speed. There were two teams that were broken down, 118 players, team speed and team phantom. So all the Hurricanes were bunched in one. The Hurricanes that did participate in this game, Cormani McLean, we'll talk about him briefly. Francis Mauigoa, obviously the number one rated offensive tackle in the country. Cormani McLean, the number one rated cornerback in the country. Ruben Bain, I'm going to go ahead and call him the number one defensive or edge rusher in the country, despite his 4-star rankings and whatever may keep him from being a 5-star, which is probably his 6'2 frame. He's about what 240, 250. Riley Williams, one of the best tight ends in the country. Robert Stafford, can't wait to get him on campus. That kid's gonna make some noise at cornerback. And the Michigan Flip Collins, I still can't pronounce his last name. Archimpong. Whoever in the chat can help me out, thanks. I appreciate it. But those are the participants that the Miami Hurricanes had in today's game, which finished up. And it finished up. I have the score right here. Team Phantom 14, Team Speed 7. Very underwhelming game in terms of highlights or whatever the case was. Not much that Miami Hurricanes signees and or verbal commits did. Only one verbal commit remains for Miami in this class, and that's the big kahuna, the big fish, Cormani McLean. So I'll take you through what the players did do, the Miami Hurricane commits did do in the game. And again, I didn't watch it, so I'm going off of Gabby Urrutia's tweets, who is at the game at the stadium. He was watching it live today. Tried to see if maybe he can get in and get a segment in on the show today. The game is over with. He was at the game live. So if he can jump on and give us a segment, great. He has a green light for that. He's part of this network. If not, we'll get him on next week and we'll see what his takeaways are from the game and maybe the week of practice. I do know that Ruben Bain kicked absolute ass in practice this week. He called it a business trip. All right. It seems like everywhere this kid goes, he makes it a point to let it known that he feels he was underrated. He feels it's a business trip, and he's out to prove people wrong. And talk about an alpha. This guy not only is an alpha, I was talking to somebody that knows his stuff in recruiting, and this guy is not only an alpha in Miami's class, he's an alpha across the nation. It's one of those things where if it's a room full of commits, a room full of highly rated commits, and Ruben Bain walks in, it's like, oh, there's Ruben. Oh, look, there's Ruben. Oh, let's go say what's up to Ruben. There goes Bain. Oh, there goes Bain. He's that guy. He just demands respect. No nonsense guy. You look at his pedigree. Miami Hurricanes in his blood. Knows what it takes. 4-time national champion. 29 sacks in consecutive seasons. His junior year and senior year was just wrapped up. And I mean, what can you say about him? If he was 6'4 plus, 250 plus, this kid would be a 6-star player. It was ridiculous. He earned his 4th star so late, but you watch him play, and this dude is he's special. So Miami, glad to have his services. But according to the tweets that were published during the game, throughout the game by Gabby Urrutia, again of 247, who's at the game, which I said just concluded, there were very minimal highlights made by the players that signed with Miami or verbal to Miami and Cormani McLean. Again, the list of guys that played were all listed on team speed. They all played on the same team. McLean, Mauigoa, Bain, Riley Williams, Robert Stafford, and Collins, the Michigan Flip. Again, I am not going to try to pronounce his name. But in any event, Cormani McLean excuse me, had a pass breakup that could have been intercepted, according to Gabby Urrutia. So that's interesting to know. Everybody knows, watching Cormani McLean, what he brings onto the field. Obvious length at his position, just really rangy guy. There was a play that was made by Cormani McLean, and I'm going to tell you one thing, not in the game, but during this past season with the Lakeland, or maybe it was his junior tape. All I know is the play was described to me first. And if you know anything about football, you don't need to watch the clip to determine how impressive this play was by Cormani. So I'm going to describe it to you first. Okay. You can put it in your head. I should have had the clip ready. I'll see if Sean, if you can find a clip, it's probably Cormani's huddle highlight. If not, don't worry about it. I'll dig it up and we'll get it next week. But if Sean, if you can find the clip of Cormani McClain, this is what he did, guys. Pay attention. So he is in his response. The team was in, I think they were in zone. Pretty sure they were in zone. His responsibility was to cover the flats. Okay. Anything coming out of the backfield, running back, maybe a tight end screen, whatever the case is. Uh, Actually, Sean, I don't know. That's a good question if we'll get hit for using it. So maybe best not to. But again, for anybody that knows football, me describing it, I'm going to describe it. And if you know football, you can follow this in your head. So he's lined up, at his cornerback's position. Not sure if it was the right side or the left side of the field. His responsibility on this zone scheme is to cover the flats, like I said. Anything coming out of the backfield, maybe any screen passes, tight end screens, whatever the case is, that's his responsibility. Covered that. Nothing was covered. Okay. So since he was covering the flats and had no responsibilities of the deep third, that's where the quarterback went on his side of the field. So Cormani dropped back once he realized what was going on in the play, saw nothing going on in the flats and that he was designated to cover in front of him. Nothing was going on there. Dropped back to the deep third on his side of the field, okay, and made an interception. I'm sorry, but that just doesn't make sense. Not even in a video game. Okay, well, maybe only in a video game. But when you're 6'2", a buck 60 something, maybe a buck 70, with long arms, long legs, great hips, smart, smart, in between the ears where it matters, and and you got instincts like that, you can do that. That's why this kid's a generational player. Okay, he made it seem so easy. Made it seem so easy. It was ridiculous. And I'm just thinking, how many, it was like less than 10 steps. Okay. It was like less than 10 steps that he took to get from the flats to the deep third on his side of the field, like where the safety's supposed to be, guys. That's where he made this play. Wasn't a pass breakup. It was a flat out interception. This guy's going to take away half the field for Miami if and when he signs. And I hope he signs because, boy, I made a tweet when he committed. About how Mario went toe to toe with Saban and he just flat out beat Saban, and it's gonna age disgusting if he ends up picking somewhere else. But since we're on the subject, I might as well go ahead and stick to it. In the Through the Smoke podcast that Gabby Rudy is on for 247, the week leading up to this game today for Cormani McClain, he showed up to the game in, to Under Armour check-in and registration, decked out in Miami gear, and every photo opportunity that he had, he flashed the U. All right. Didn't talk to anybody. All right. And so the one person that he did kind of chat with off the record, or I guess if you could call it that, was Andrew Ivins. And what Gabby gathered from that, short little discussion was that there's nothing in terms of visits lined up for Cormani. There's nothing in terms of decommitment talk or opening up his options. He remains a solid verbal, which keeps Miami third or fourth in 247 ranked. I can't remember which one it is. I'll go ahead and pull that up in a second. But let's just talk. If Miami doesn't get that commitment, let's say he flips somewhere else, it's still a great class. And what I didn't know about this class is, let's say it remains. Did you guys know that this is Mario Cristobal's best class ever that he has signed at, whether it be Oregon, obviously his second one at Miami? That's ridiculous. Obviously, as a head coach, because we're not going to go ahead and count whatever happened when he was at FIU or Bama. Those weren't his classes. He contributed to them, okay? And here at Miami, too, because he was recruiting for Butch Davis, recruited a lot of those players on the best team, to ever play college football. So, that's ridiculous. Okay. Obviously, it will take a hit if Cormani decides to take his services elsewhere, but it'll still be a fringe top 10 class. And listen, yes, it would absolutely blow if Cormani decides to not come to Miami, but it'll put a damper on the class. But when you look at the class and you consider, I'm pulling up the class right now so that you all, for those of you that don't remember, can get a quick reminder of what's going on. Okay. Two of the top three offensive tackles in the country for Miami, in Francis Maragoa and Samson Okunlola. Okay. Ruben Bain, like I said, to me, the best edge rusher in the country, listed at 6'2", 250 on 247. By the way, Pancake 6'5", 305, and Margoa 6'5" and a half, 330. That's a guy that can play guard easily, maybe even at the next level. But I think he's probably suited. He's probably looking at right tackle right now because I think Sampson is a natural left tackle. But don't be surprised Francis plays guard because he has the body, he has the build for that, he has the feet for that, athleticism. Can play tackle with obviously great feet and athleticism. But remember, Miami's offensive linemen are cross trained. Okay, every single one of them. They know how to play guard, tackle. All right, you name it, whatever the case is. But Francis Margoa, Samson Okunlola, Ruben Bain. Okay, I'm going over signed prospects. Okay, I'm excluding Cormani. I'm excluding portal guys. I'm just going over guys that were actually signed on the dotted line 2 weeks ago for National Signing Day to give Miami a, I believe it was fourth rank. It is a fourth rank class. Here it is. So Margoa, Okunlola, Ruben Bain, Jaden Wayne. Okay, another edge rusher out of IMG. Malik Bryant, outside linebacker out of Orlando Jones. A lot of people think that he's going to end up having his hand in the dirt, which I don't mind. I would like to see him standing up, but we'll see whatever happens with that. Riley Williams, stud tight end, also IMG, originally from the West Coast. Robert Stafford, we talked about him briefly. Just, a really, really good cornerback out of Melbourne, Florida, 5'11", 171, can do it all. Physical guy at his size. Nathaniel Joseph is the Roscoe Parrish of the class, okay? Edison Senior High School, 5'8", 170. Collins, you know who I'm talking about, the Michigan flip, 6'7", 254. Probably going to take some time for him to grow, not to grow into his body, but to develop as a player because this kid loves football, but he's still kind of learning the game. All right. Raul Aguirre from Miami ended up moving to Georgia at some time throughout his youth. Linebacker, 6'2", 220. By the way, these are all four-star guys that I'm listing, except obviously Francis and Okunlola. Damari Brown, son of Selwyn Brown, a legacy player out of Heritage. For those of you saying that we don't get Heritage guys, there you go. Heritage cornerbacks, there you go. 6'1", another long, lengthy guy, 180, four-star. Robbie Washington, another smaller-ish type wide receiver. Was over at Killing, but he finished his high school career over at Palmetto. Anton Jackson, really excited about him from Dillard. Safety, 6', 170. Mark Fletcher, another Heritage player, four-star, 6'1", 225. I'm not done, guys. Another four-star is Christopher Johnson. There's your Thunder and Lightning pairing at the running back position, okay? 6'1", 225 to Fletcher, who can do it all right? And I'm sorry, not Bobby Washington, but Christopher Johnson, world-class speed, according to Mario Cristobal. Bobby Washington, another linebacker, 6'3", 215. That's the one you're probably going to want to keep your eyes on. That's the one that can probably not as many people are talking about as much as they should. And he's the one that's the dude is lightning. You miss speed at the linebacker position over the past few years from Miami. We saw it briefly a couple times this year, especially with Wesley Bassett. This kid brings it. Okay, Bobby Washington, has the range at 6'3", 215, and it just comes with bad intentions. We're finally dipping down to the 3 stars, but this 3-star should definitely be a 4-star. Go look at his offers. Joshua Horton, 6'4", 285, 200. Defensive tackle who was originally committed to UNC. Miami flipped him. Tommy Kinsler, originally a Florida commit. This guy can play both sides of the ball on the trenches. 6'6", 330. He's probably going to stay on the offensive side of the ball. We'll see. Emory Williams, underrated quarterback who beat out Jalen Rashada in the Elite 11 final rankings. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what the rankings were, but Emory Williams finished ahead of him. Jaden Rashada did actually play in the Under Armour game, which concluded a few minutes ago. Giraffe of a tight end. I call him Giraffe because the dude just sticks out, all right, amongst the crowd. 6'6", 220, Jackson Carver. Antonio Tripp, another interior offensive lineman from IMG, 6'3", 300 pounds. Marcellus Pullum, 6'3", 215, listed as a linebacker. This guy's can play safety, can play linebacker, you name it. Caleb Spencer. This is a very interesting prospect, 6'2.5", 210, another safety linebacker guy. I'm not exactly sure what the plans are with either of those guys, but Miami's linebacker class is looking. Remember, everybody was worried about it a year ago. Don't worry about it anymore. These guys are going to play. These guys are going to play a lot. And I don't think there's going to be much to worry about in terms of coverage in terms of coverage at open field plays that are needed to be made by linebackers. I think that Miami fans are going to be very satisfied with the closing speed you're going to see at that position from here on out, at least until Mario's here. Frankie Tinalau, listed as an offensive tackle, 6'5", 315 from LaSalle. And then we got a punter in Dylan Joyce from Australia. Obviously, Cormani is the lone verbal commit. And then so far transfers, all right, from the transfer portal, and I'll wrap this segment up with this final bit of information. We got the other Mauigoa, the older brother of Francisco Mauigoa. What I like about him is he actually got better throughout his college career so far, as you should. It's a little thing called development that the staffs of Miami's recent past have, failed to do. But Francis Mauigoa was recruited as a 3-star, and he was listed as a 4-star at the time of his transfer from Washington State. Thomas Gore signed with Georgia State, a 6', 270-pound. I'm just going to call him a defensive lineman, okay? I doubt that he plays defensive tackle at that size here, unless your name is Aaron Donald, which he's not. Look for this to be a really, really interesting edge player. Maybe play inside on some instances. I have no idea. But at 6', 270, you can't expect to play full-time on the inside of that defensive line. Devontae Brown, the brother of drawing a blank, brother of Damari Brown, the commit from American Heritage, and obviously the other son of Selvin Brown. Miami gets him to commit over from UCF, another cornerback. 6'1", 160. Do you see a trend here at the cornerback position? Do you see what Mario's trying to do? He's trying to make it really hard on these quarterbacks to complete passes in these passing windows, okay? Even if you're beat, maybe you might not have the foot speed. Just think Mike Jackson, okay, who's doing a very good job over at Seattle in the NFL, having a very good season, all right? And then Javion Coyne, maybe at this point of the transfer portal signees for Miami, the number one get, the guard interior lineman from Alabama, 4-star guy at the time of his commitment to Bama, and a 4-star guy at the time of his transfer to Miami. So 6'5", 295, something tells me he probably weighs a little bit more than that. But I want to get back into, on the other side of the break here, some college football talk, some more talk about the transfer portal, and the very minimal highlights, if you want to call it that, from guys that played in the Under Armour game that just finished on ESPN2. So thanks for sticking around for that first segment. I'll see you on the other side of this break. You're watching the Miami Hurricanes Watch on the 305 Sports Talk Network. I'm your host, Mike McCoy. Be right back.
You're listening to the home for hardcore Miami Hurricanes coverage. This is the Miami Hurricanes Watch with Mike McCoy on the Sports Talk 305 Network.
Red Recover now offers a simple-to-use, professional-grade light therapy device designed to help your dog heal and live a healthier life. Red Recover emits red and infrared light therapy based on the same science that NASA developed, all in a soft, flexible housing pad powered by a convenient, rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Say yes to science and give your dog the care it deserves with Red Recover.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
You're locked into the only platform truly dedicated to South Florida sports. This is the Miami Hurricanes Watch on the Sports Talk 305 network. Here's your host, Mike McCoy.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around with us throughout that first after that first break. Appreciate it. You're watching the Miami Hurricanes Watch. I'm your host, Mike McCoy, on the 305 Sports Talk Network. I'm trying to see if Gabby is able to jump on with us. Like I said, he's at the game. The game finished, obviously, the Under Armour game. He's probably busy with interviews or what have you. But if he jumps on, he'll be right here with us, and that'll be some pretty cool exclusive coverage. But during the break, I see Mike Williams, Rob Dukes going back and forth at it. You guys are funny. If you don't mind, let me just jump in and get my 2 cents in there. But look, man, I think it was Mike that made this comment. Let me scroll up really quick about being frustrated because you want to see us being Miami succeed like other teams are doing, especially first-year guys like, I don't know, TCU has a first-year coach. I get it. Look, I don't like comparing because every coach took over a different situation. Like you guys are grown men, okay? And I don't need to explain it to you guys are college football fans. You know what Lincoln Riley was stepping into at USC. The guy just happened to have the Biletnikoff winner, right? He also brung on his highly, highly, highly talented and highly touted quarterback from Oklahoma. And that guy kind of knew his system. So it's completely different. I have no idea what USC's culture was in the locker room. I don't know how positive or negative it was. I'm not here to say that it was worse Miami or better, but I will say this. Miami definitely had an interesting dynamic in terms of what was going on in that locker room. I do have some ins and outs of what the hell, shouldn't have transpired. Not so much this year, but during the Manny Diaz era or whatever you want to call it, regime. And it was some stuff that you just can't, mind you, I was a big Manny supporter. Huge. It took me a long time to get off that bus because you want to know what a lot of people don't talk about? Matty did a lot good here, okay, until it wasn't. What do I mean by that? Killed the transfer portal, okay, and don't talk in hindsight. Be careful. Listen to what I'm saying. Don't say, "Oh well, Mike, Tate Martell was horrible." You weren't saying that when he was signed, okay? Miami also signed. Forget his name, but there was a running back that Miami signed off the transfer portal that was like a 5-star recruit, a 5-star running back recruit when he committed to Auburn. Never played it down here because I think he ended up transferring like 5 minutes after he ended up signing here in the transfer portal. I forget what his name was, but Manny did a great job killing the portal. He did a great job assessing needs in terms of the staff. What do I mean? Remember the quarterback coach that everybody was dying to get out of here during Mark Richt's regime, his son John Richt. Okay, Manny Diaz takes over. What does he do? He just poaches the quarterbacks coach from the Alabama Crimson Tide, the same guy that helped Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts, two pro quarterbacks that are doing pretty good at the next level right now. You get that guy to come and coach your quarterbacks and call the offense. Did anybody know how bad Dan Enos was going to be? No. That's why I'm saying don't talk in hindsight. Talk about it at the time. At the time, it was the perfect move to make. Dan Enos was the perfect hire. I was excited. If you're sitting here lying, saying that you weren't, you're lying because Miami needed a quarterback coach. And why the hell wouldn't you want to get the one from the great Alabama, right? Again, look at the guys that he developed. So I'm just trying to bring up things that Manny did do right. But boy, oh boy, the things that I heard that he did wrong, I couldn't defend him anymore. I couldn't. And I'm not even talking about on-field stuff. It was the things that were done behind closed doors, said, all right, and maybe not done. Just look at it like this. And this is not something that I came up with, so I don't want to take credit for it. But just think about this. Do you guys remember T. Rob's initial interview? I forgot where the podcast was, okay, but it wasn't in a press conference. It was some podcast that the University of Miami website releases, and I think it's Josh Darrow that does the podcast. And so in that podcast, T. Rob was talking about how Miami's going to be in your face, bump and run, right? 1-versus-1s in practice, blah, 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 blah. Did you see that when T. Rob was coaching down here? No. So that tells me what? He was lied to. Again, not something that I'm saying for sure happened, okay, but something that somebody that knows the team and has pretty good connections on the inside made an observation and told me. I was like, it's a pretty good observation, right? So Manny did a lot. And look, what happened when Enos didn't work? Okay, everybody was talking, oh, spread. We're Miami, spread out the speed and we'll be great. You go ahead and get a guy like Lashley, who I'm sorry was pretty successful his first season here, that 2020 season. Miami won 8 games, okay? And then year two didn't go as well. But look at him now. All right. Look at Enos now. He's doing pretty good. Heck, look at Blake Baker now. All right. Something tells me that it's something in the water here in Miami. What's the common denominator? The players, guys. That's why I like to tell guys a lot that, yeah, coaches coach, players play. That's the mantra I live by. Okay. Am I sitting here saying that players are the 100% fault of everything that happened in Miami? No, you'd be stupid to blame everything that happened to this team in the past several years on one specific person or one specific group of people. No, it's a team. Literally, faults are made by the coaches and the players every game. But I have always said that if I was to put a number on it, I got 90% of this thing, 85% of it going to the players. Okay, that's just how I feel. Because, like I said, players play, coaches coach. Don't give me that. Well, Mike, it's the job's coach. It's the coach's job to get ready, the players ready. Yeah, X's and O's wise, but I've never, ever believed in the notion that is a coach's job to mentally prepare his or her players for any game. I'm sorry, but I have to tell you how important this FSU game coming up is. You shouldn't be playing football. That's just the way it is. Like, that's just the way it is. And I'm not talking about the greats. Oh, only the greats. No. If you love this game, I don't care what. Look, I played basketball and I ran track at Core Park Senior High School. Okay. I'm a 2002 graduate of Core Park Senior High School. Yes, I'm aging myself. I'm 39 years old. But guess what? Nobody ever had to tell me that I needed to get high for Southwest, Columbus, Miami High. It did it. No, nobody. And I was nowhere near a D1, college basketball prospect. Don't get it fooled. I'll kick anybody's ass in this chat on the court, on the hardwood. But you didn't, and high jump wise, same thing. I was a high jumper, and nobody didn't have to tell me anything about. I knew it was game day as soon as I saw the schedule. When the coaches handed it to us, beginning of the season. So, in my estimation, obviously, this is something that can go great barbershop debate, but it is not, in my opinion, a coach's job to mentally prepare his or her player for battle. I think that's bullshit. That's just me. Okay, that's just me. But in any event, the point that I'm trying to make in all this, Manny did a lot of good. Okay, and like I said, he was king of the transfer portal, just like what's his name up in FSU is right now. We got to talk about that. But I don't remember why I even started talking about. Oh, because Mike and Rob were going at it. Look, man, Sonny Dykes in a championship game, and by the way, I got TCU beating Georgia. It's a perfect situation for him. I mean, look who his offensive coordinator is, Garrett Riley, the younger brother of Lincoln Riley. Like, it's just a match made in heaven, man. And sometimes coaches step into situations that aren't Miami. And, to me, Mario has done exactly what he's supposed to do. Wipe the hell this entire slate, get it out. Get it out. And who knows how many of those cancers that Manny used to like to use that word are still in there after this purge. I don't know, but there's going to be more coming. That there's going to be more transferring out right around springtime, maybe after the spring game when they kind of see the writing on the wall. I don't know how much playing time I'm going to get. I didn't see that many reps in the spring. This kid is coming in in June, and he's a highly touted guy and whatever. So we'll see how that goes. But you know how Mario works. He's 3 steps ahead of the game. Remember when T-Rob decided to leave? Well, not T-Rob. It was T-Rob. T-Rob left to Alabama. Who does Miami replace him with? Oh, just the defensive backs coach from the defending national champion. No big deal. Okay, like Mario's 3 steps ahead. He probably knows who his offensive coordinator is going to be 2 years from now, whenever Gaddis's replacement leaves. I don't know, but I'm just saying I trust the man blindly with the guidance that he has. All right, because he does listen to certain people, and Zoe by his side, and no longer Ed Reed. Shout out to Ed Reed taking the Bethune-Cookman job. Anybody know if it's final? I know that they agreed to whatever, but I don't think he's signed on the dotted line yet. But it's safe to say that he's going to be the man. I love to see it. But yeah, man. Look, Mike Williams. I get what you're saying, bro. I'm frustrated too. But uh, what I think the hardest thing for Miami fans to do right now is not take out 20 years of frustrations on the new guy, which would be Mario. All right. This isn't his fault that he knew exactly who he was taking over. And I'm gonna go ahead and quote my good friend Dave from the Sebastian Lane show. Uh, has a really good show. Whoever listens to Miami Flow Media and their content, they have a really good recruiting show called Sebastian Lane. Go ahead and look it up. I believe they come out on Thursdays. And so Dave, the co-host on that show, he came out and he told me one day, he was like, Mike, I think Mario saw what was going on here, and he told the administration, yeah, I want to come home. I'll do it, but shit, like, damn, I'm gonna need this. I'm gonna need this. He know when he was stepping into. Again, looking at things from afar, Miami wasn't right. Miami wasn't right. And what is he doing right now? He's getting Miami right. Look at this signing class, and I'm not talking about the shining stars. I am talking about how Miami is supposed to look on the field. Okay, have you been watching these bowl games? Have you been watching these bowl games? Isn't it great to see good football? How many times have you been watching these bowl games and say, damn, I haven't seen that in 20 years at Miami, okay? Because you haven't seen it at 20 years at Miami. And I'm talking about responsible football, smart football, um, disciplined football, and the big one, the size. Mario made no bones about it. And you want to know what's crazy about it? The past two strength and conditioning staffs, Gus Felder, when he was here with Coach Richt, I was excited to have him. You want to know why? Because he came over from where? Georgia. What? The SEC. Where what? There's houses built at the running back position, and the Titanic is built at freaking tight end. I was excited, right? But Miami still didn't look right. In comes what's his name that's over at Duke right now. I forget his name. The strength and conditioning coach that was here during the Manny Diaz regime. And I liked him too. And you saw those before and after pictures that the players would post, and it's like, damn, we're getting bigger. And still you line up. I was at Atlanta last year when Miami went up and got embarrassed on national TV against Alabama. And I said, what I thought we got bigger. Like, what in the hell? Well, you go look at Javion Cohen's highlight during that Miami game and how it looked like he could have blocked Miami's defensive line with one hand. Like, I'm serious. He was toying with them. And it was Jared Harrison Hunt to be specific, but whoever lined up in front of him, he was just ragdolling. Made it look easy. I would have declared for the draft right after that game if I was him, because that's how good he looked. So, what I'm trying to get at is Mario knows what this looks like, what it's supposed to look like. Go look how big these kids are in Miami's recruiting class. And they haven't even gone through a freaking season or off season of strength and conditioning. And so they're going to get trimmed down the baby fat, who knows if they're going to get taller or definitely going to gain weight, but who knows if they're going to get any taller, they're going to get stronger, they're going to get faster. And that is the big difference that has held Miami back in several of these past recruiting classes. It's not that Miami couldn't recruit. So anybody, and if you're one of these guys that's listening to me right now that said that Mario had nothing to work with, and all Manny recruited was trash, that is false. Because I'm the type of guy when I like to talk recruiting, I don't care about stars. I look at offers, okay? I look at offers and, oh, this kid must be a player because look who the hell offered him, right? Why is he only a 3-star? These recruiting services clearly don't know what's going on. I mean, what the hell's going on, right? Look at the offers that these kids have, all right? And the point that I was trying to make was the cupboard was not left bare for Mario, okay? Well, then why didn't he win, Mike? Listen, Bill Belichick couldn't have coached this team, okay? Because when you have guys that aren't bought in, and when you have guys that are used to a certain boss at work that just doesn't mind you clocking in late, oh, whatever, you're only supposed to have 30 minutes lunch, 45, it's okay, what? No, and then you have the guy that's concerned with the bottom line, on time is early, or how does it go? How does Tom Coughlin say? early is on time or whatever the case was. When you have that type of guy, these kids that are used to the slack boss and now they're getting the strict boss, they don't want to be a part of it. And you want to know what I say? Bye. I would love to have you stay, but I would love to see you leave too. Like because that stuff is contagious. And if you're signing with Miami right now, you are buying into what Mario is selling. Meaning, look, yeah, I run a tight ship. This is what you're going to be doing. This is what you're not going to be doing. You in or you out. And if all of these guys are signing onto that dotted line with knowing what the culture is, what the structure is going to be, listen, I mean, what else can you say? What else can you say? So, um, I said all of that to say, Mike, I get it. I get it, man, because I'm pissed off too. But let's just wait and see. And nobody wants to hear the wait and see part. And I wasted a whole segment not talking about what I wanted to talk about. But I want to get into the Bulls over the next segment. And I still got to finish talking about transfer portal stuff and maybe hand out some real McCoys. For those of you that aren't aware, the three real McCoys are like my MVPs of the week. And obviously, they're not going to go to the Miami Hurricanes this week. They can go to a fan base. They could go to a coach. They could go to a player, whatever the case is. But 8:41, I'll be right back for the next 19 minutes on the other side of the break. You've been listening to Miami Hurricanes Watch. I'm your host, Mike McCoy. Stick around.
You're listening to the home for hardcore Miami Hurricanes coverage. This is the Miami Hurricanes Watch with Mike McCoy on the Sports Talk 305 network.
Red Recover now offers a simple-to-use, professional-grade light therapy device designed to help your dog heal and live a healthier life. Red Recover emits red and infrared light therapy based on the same science that NASA developed, all in a soft, flexible housing pad powered by a convenient, rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Say yes to science and give your dog the care it deserves with Red Recover.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
You're locked into the only platform truly dedicated to South Florida sports. This is the Miami Hurricanes Watch on the Sports Talk 305 network. Here's your host, Mike McCoy.
Last segment of the show. What is Dana White talking about? I don't know what he's talking about. On altercation with his wife. Oh, God, never mind. But in any event, last segment of the show, you've been watching Miami Hurricanes Watch. I'm your host, Mike McCoy, on the 305 Sports Talk Network. Thank you for spending your Tuesday evening with us, or maybe Wednesday morning, or whatever, whenever, however, wherever you're listening to us. We appreciate it. Yes, I played ball at Ruben Dario Middle School. Do you know me? Do you know me? Do you know me? Who said it was a Brad? But going back to the last thing, and I won't touch it again. No, I read it a couple times in there. No, Miami is not less talented than Duke or Middle Tennessee State. But you want to know what's always going to beat a more talented team? Coaching. Good coaching and disciplined players, okay? These players were not used to the coaching that they got the past 2, 3, however many years that they were here. They weren't used to it. And I'm sorry, again, Bill Belichick wouldn't be able to do anything with this roster, because when you have guys that are not bought in, this is the ultimate team game. Like, you got 5 guys doing one thing, offensive line, 1 guy doing one thing, quarterback, 2 to 3 other guys going out for passes, running the ball, blocking, whatever the case is. And if just one doesn't do their job because he's whatever, not into it, I'm not getting the snaps, or crying up to his mom about whatever, it's not going to work, guys. So You may not want to hear it, but guess what? The Detroit Pistons beat that star-studded LA Lakers team with what? 4 Hall of Famers in the starting lineup. Shaq, Glove, Karl Malone, Kobe, and I forgot who else was on that starting lineup. I don't know, Horry or whatever the case was. And the Detroit Pistons, what, had like one All-Star on that team? Rip Hamilton. Like, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. Giants and the Pats, they beat them twice. Like, guys, we're sports fans. We've seen this. And this does make sense because coaching wins games. And the less talented team wins all the time. Tulane, USC, did you see that? Mind you, I get it. There was a bunch of opt-outs for USC. And I have a comment about that. And you guys can disagree or agree, whatever. It's sports talk. That's what this is good for. But you want to know what about the opt-outs conversation? I think it's a cop-out when kids do that. And I'm not talking about this as a fan. I really am not, because I'm a Hurricanes fan. We haven't had a guy to affect us in that regard in terms of opting out for quite some time. Rousseau decided to opt out this season due to COVID or whatever. But let me tell you why I think that. And yes, everybody's financial situation is different. I get it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But call me old school or whatever. Again, I'm only 39 years old. Again, only because I don't think that 39 is old. But check me out. This is a family, right? You go into any situation when you're a team player, high school, whatever. This is like your NBA. This is your NFL. Like, I love this. These are my boys. It's my brother, band of brothers, family. We go to war together, sweat, what is it? Sweat, blood, and tears, all of that stuff, right? Don't go all season calling these guys your family and this and that. And then you opt out as one of the best players on the team in one of the most important games of the season. I don't give a damn if it was the Cheez-It Bowl, okay? It's a bowl game, and it means something to a bunch of those guys. And to me, the means of the many outweigh the means of the few. Yes, I'm a Trekkie, all right? I love Spock. So, and I get it. Well, Mike, you're being selfish or whatever, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not being selfish because I'm not looking at this as a fan. I'm looking at it as if I was a player or coach on the other team, and it's like, damn, like, really? I think that's just messed up. And I get it. They got money to think about. But what are you really preparing for? You're preparing for the draft? How are you going to prepare for the draft? To look good in the at Indianapolis, running your 40, doing a bunch of tests that really don't even equate into football during the games? Like, come on, man. I think it's a bunch of crap because you can get hurt in that combine. You can get hurt in your pro day. Heck, you could get hurt working out. You could tear a pec, right? How many times have J.J. Watt torn his pec, lifting weights? So I get it. You don't want to risk your future or whatever, but what are the chances? And somebody I had this conversation with the other day, they brought up, Jake Butt, a couple of years ago, the best tight end in college football, ends up tearing up his knee in whatever bowl game it was and lost himself a lot of money. It hasn't been the same since. You want to know what my response to that was? Oh, well. Like, you're a football player. You're going to get hurt, okay? But how many times do the best football players get hurt in the biggest game of the season? There's not many Willis McGahees out there, guys. And that was a national championship game. Like, obviously, you're not going to opt out of that one. But my point is, I think it's a bunch of crap. I really do, okay? And I get it. You're protecting yourself. You got to be selfish sometimes. And you know what? Go ahead and do your thing. But if I was a teammate on a team like that, you know what, man? I respect your decision, but I don't respect your decision at the same time because we've been riding, for this. And I don't know. I'm probably in the minority when it comes to this, but I think it's trash. I think it's garbage. And I honestly don't see the benefit because, like I said, you can get hurt at any point. And what are the chances you're going to get hurt in that game? I don't know. Nick Saban has something to say about it a couple of days ago, and I don't know. I'll look up the quote later on. Maybe we'll share it next week. But these bowl games, man, the most exciting one, I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you because I was locked in on Saturday, obviously, for the New Year's games. An interesting note, and I follow Chris Fowler on Instagram. He's a good follow on Instagram, by the way, if you guys don't follow him there. He's always posting like videos that he talks about, recaps of the game. So when that field goal was kicked by Ohio State in the waning seconds of the game, it was kicked in 2022 and missed in 2023, which I think is a stat for like a stat of a lifetime. I think that's pretty cool. One play started and ended, on 2 different calendar years. So that was pretty cool. But that game was something else, man. And as a Hurricanes fan, I know I should get slapped on the wrist for this. I was kind of, kind of going for Ohio State for the simple fact that I wanted chaos. I really wanted chaos. But then I thought about it. I was like, no, I'd rather see Kirby losing a championship game to a first-year coach. I think it's going to happen, guys. I think it's going to happen. I'm going to tell you why. Because if you look at the games that Georgia played in this year, yeah, they were dominant. They, when they needed to be and everything like that. But I don't think there's ever been, and I'm trying to put up their schedule right here. Where's the SEC in Georgia? Excuse me. Here we go. Schedule, Georgia. How many potent offenses did they play? And when they did play those potent offenses, what happened? I'm sorry. First game of the season, Oregon, when they absolutely made them look like crap, 49-3. I don't necessarily consider Oregon to be a potent offense. Okay. A potent offense is TCU. A potent offense is USC. A potent offense is, I don't even know if I consider Georgia to be a potent offense. Ole Miss, potent. Okay, those are potent offenses. Sanford, South Carolina, to beat them. So in tight game, well, Tennessee, potent offense, they beat them 27-13. Okay, Mississippi State, Mike Leach, rest in peace. They held them to 19 points. But there was just games that they didn't turn. Like, look at this one at home against Kent State. They won 39-22. Right. Georgia throughout most of last year, I think they didn't even allow like a rushing touchdown after, I don't know, after whatever point. They didn't, or was it a touchdown at all, 7 points, whatever the case was dominating defensively. And then, TCU has nothing to lose. At this point, they weren't supposed. They started the season unranked, guys. Okay, and Sonny Dykes is just PlayStation offense. All right, I like PlayStation over Xbox. Sorry, but barely had to get. They won 41-42. This great Georgia defense, and I get it, you're off a couple weeks or whatever the case is, but I think TCU's offense is better than Ohio State's. Okay, and I get it. Ohio State has probably the best receiver in college football, but Sonny Dykes makes his offense, or I should say Garrett Riley's offense, whatever the case is, you got to cover the entire field. I'm not saying Georgia doesn't have the players for it, but they haven't faced many offenses like that. You got a week to prepare. Listen, I got TCU, whether it's by a half a point, 1 point, whatever the case is, I don't know. But that game was definitely exciting. Got to give a shout out to FSU, man. They're doing it big. A 10-win season, beat Oklahoma in whatever freaking bowl game. I think that was actually the Cheez-It Bowl they played in that game. Running down the list here, TCU, Michigan. Oh my God, Michigan, man. That I think was to me, I was more into that game than the Ohio State Georgia game, even though it went down to the wire, because talk about back and forth. That TCU Michigan's game was just, and by the way, hit in the chat. Let me know if you guys think that touchdown that was taken away from Michigan and then they ended up fumbling on the ensuing play at the goal line. Do you guys think that was a touchdown? Because I think they got it right. I think the officials got it right and they placed the ball where it was supposed to be placed. Let me guys, just for shits and giggles, I'm just wondering what you guys think. Another bowl game that was interesting was Oregon State beating up on Florida 30-3 for obvious reasons. What else? Another interesting one. Just going down the list here because obviously, I mean, people have lives, people have work. I didn't sit here and watch all of these, so there's a bunch I didn't see. South Carolina, I really thought they were going to take it to Notre Dame. Notre Dame ended up pulling that out. I think Notre Dame is going to surprise some people next year. They win that one 45-38. Orange Bowl, much ado about nothing. Tennessee 31, Clemson 14. Alabama looked good, beating the Big 12 champs, K-State 45-20. So we'll see. But damn. Oh no, the Cheez-It Bowl was LSU and Purdue. So what was the FSU Oklahoma? Anyway, Cheez-It Citrus Bowl 63-7, LSU over Purdue, and wow, that was just something else. But and then shouts out to Manny Diaz, and his defense holding Utah to 21 points. 21 points. Penn State winning that Rose Bowl yesterday, I believe it was 35-21. So just really quick, because I know it said I wanted to go over some transfer portal stuff, and I have my notes here. Actually, no, the very few highlights in today's game. like I said, Cormani, I said this in the first segment, didn't really finish it because I went off on a tangent. But Cormani McClain had a pass breakup that could have been an interception, according to Gabby Rudia. That's what he tweeted. Ruben Bain had a batted pass at the line of scrimmage, and that's it in terms of guys that played in today's Under Armour game. Again, that was Cormani McClain, Francis Malgoa, Ruben Bain, Riley Williams, Robert Stafford, and Collins Arkimpong. Sean, if you could find the box score to that game and just go ahead and put it up so we can just kind of go over it, that'd be great. I couldn't find it. I found the halftime stats. If not, dude, no big deal because we're wrapping it up. But guys, I just kind of want to wrap things up before I get into three McCoys of the. Oh, there you go, Sean, the man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Guys, the other thing that I want to say about this is you saw that clip, Ruben Bain, okay, and Cormani McClain, two alphas, two dogs. If you don't think for 1 second that these guys are in Cormani's ears heavy throughout the entire week, like you have the ambassador of ambassadors in Ruben Bain, okay, talking to, and I just said it in the first segment, Ruben Bain is not only that guy in South Florida, he's that guy nationally. When he walks into the room, there's Bain. Let's go chill with Bain. Let's go say what's up to Bain. He has that type of persona around him that people just respect because they know he means business. The guy, he was built to play football. He's just that football player. That's what he was or is or was in high school and is as, a recruit. And, that clip right there just brings, a smile to my face. But guys, again, I just want you to get ready just in case Cormani doesn't come here. Miami still has a hell of a class. Okay, Miami still has a hell of a class. And one monkey doesn't stop the show. One monkey does not stop the show. Yes, it would suck. But you want to know what would make me feel good? If he goes somewhere else, go to Bama. Don't go to Florida. Don't go to Florida. Don't do it, okay? Because what I really want to see is Cormani versus Jaden Rashada because Jaden Rashada is going to have half a field to work with. Do you guys remember when Dion wouldn't even go to the huddle? Because the defensive huddle? Because his job was literally just to lock up whatever receiver was in front of him. I'm not saying Cormani's not going to the defensive huddle, but he's going to have the same type of effects. I just want to see this pass rush get to which should be at 100%. All right, in 2024, next season, well, 2 seasons from now, when Miami plays Florida. I don't know if it's here or up in that erector set of a stadium that they have up there in Gainesville, but I think Jaden Rashada is going to be given hell. But with that being said, Sean, if you could go ahead and give me that intro for the 3 real McCoys, let's go ahead and do that right now.
We're holstered and ready to unleash this week's Real McCoys. Time to hand out awards for this week's MVPs for the Miami Hurricanes. The Real McCoys.
You guys heard what that said? This week's MVPs for the Miami Hurricanes. Again, this has been a season-long thing. I haven't been handing out these awards to just Miami Hurricanes guys. 1 week I handed it out to the Tennessee Volunteers fan base after they beat Alabama. Why? Because they tore down the goalpost and threw it in the Tennessee River, which I thought was epic. Ended up costing them like $300,000 or $150,000, I think it was, to replace their goalposts for the next week. They needed to get that up by. But in any event, the 3 real McCoys, and I haven't been watching as much college football, okay, because it's the holidays, bowl season, there's a lot to keep up with, and there's been a lot of recruiting stuff, so I've just kind of been all over the place. I haven't been on Twitter that much lately, but I will say this: the 3rd place real McCoy isn't hard for me because I'm not handing this one out to a certain player, but I am going to hand it out to a certain team in general, head coach, and fan base, because the Texas Christian University Horned Frogs got a cool little, Miami has the U. These guys have the little horned frog thing is pretty cool. They made, and no shade to the program, but I saw this in a tweet and I thought it was funny. They made a national championship game appearance before Miami won the ACC. Ouch, that sucks. That really sucks. I don't know how long TCU's been around, but still, They got to a national championship game appearance before Miami won the ACC. Miami's been around in the ACC since 2004. And shout out to the TCU Horned Frogs again. Started the season unranked, okay, and they earned their way. And I think the college football playoff committee got it right by the Final Four, okay. I was making an argument for Alabama because I think Alabama. I saw the argument where no, you can't get in with two losses, and I saw the argument. Well, they can kind of get. I saw both sides of the fence, but I think the committee got it right. In naming the Final Four. So the number three Real McCoy goes to TCU as a program, fan base, player, whatever, coach, and Sonny Dykes, man, first year at the helm there, came over from SMU last year, where Rhett Lashlee is right now. Real McCoy number three goes to TCU in making it a national championship game, playing Georgia next Monday.
Real McCoy.
The second Real McCoy award goes to a guy that I don't even think is going to get drafted. Okay, because Stetson Bennett, for as good as he's been for the Georgia Bulldogs, I just don't say. You want to know what I liken him to? I kind of liken him to, and I think AJ McCarron was a better quarterback for Alabama than Stetson Bennett is for Georgia, in the sense that I think that they do the same things. They're game managers. They're quarterbacks who manage the game. They don't make mistakes, and they play within the system. But in terms of talent, I do think that AJ McCarron had a little bit of more tools to work with. He was also younger because Stetson Bennett, I think he's like 25 years old. Okay, former walk-on, earned his scholarship, obviously leading the team to a national championship victory last season. Wasn't the starter at the beginning of the season, but he has a chance to win back-to-back national championships for a program that didn't win one since like 1980, I think it was, or 81, the last time that Georgia won one before last season. But Stetson Bennett against Ohio State, he outdueled C.J. Stroud, who is clearly a better quarterback than Stetson Bennett is. But when you throw for 23 of 34, and that's incompleting 9 passes, guys. Okay, against an Ohio State defense which isn't world beaters by any means necessary, but they're still a top 4 team in the country. That defense has to be worth something, right? 42 points that Stetson Bennett, was a part of. 3 touchdowns, one interception, 398 yards on 23 completions. I'm sorry, but I think that your best players play their best when they're supposed to play their best in their biggest games, and Stetson Bennett did that for the second place Real McCoy.
Real McCoy.
And then I actually had a hard time figuring this one out because, like I said, of the games that I saw, there were some good performances. There were some awesome performances, and it was hard to pick one out for the number one. I almost was gonna call for a tie or whatever the case is, but I really, 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 really like the play of J.J. McCarthy, the quarterback of the Wolverines. Look, I'm a 49er fan. So, and I've always liked Michigan in the sense that I like their colors, their Coral Park colors, okay? And even before I knew what high school I was going to, something about the maize and blue, I don't know, maybe it was just the stadium. I don't know what it was. I always like to see them do good. And now that Harbaugh is there, like I said, I'm a 49ers fan. I definitely like to see them do well. So J.J. McCarthy, 20 of 30, another quarterback, 20 of 34. And I know I was kind of easy with it, going with the quarterbacks, but these are guys that really made me say, well, damn. Because remember what Michigan was up until the past 2 years? They were what? They were just a quarterback away. They were just a quarterback away from beating Ohio State, from being taken seriously as national championship contenders, which they were this year. And then, they ended up finishing the season second, and they earned their first loss of the season over the weekend. And so J.J. McCarthy, 20 of 34, so 14 incompletions. He did throw for 2 touchdowns, and he did throw for 2 interceptions, but he threw for 343 yards for a team that is really not known for passing the ball like that. They're definitely more of a balanced offense than those traditional, Michigan teams that we've seen, that I grew up seeing at least, okay? Because I remember, Anthony Thomas, A-Train, and, whoever else was running, was it Tim Biakabatuka? I think he went, was it Penn State? Tim Biakabatuka played for Michigan. Guys like that. That's the type of Michigan football I'm used to seeing, right? Mike Hart, when he was, I think he's a running back coach there for right now over at Michigan. But they're not even in that game without the performance of J.J. McCarthy. So that's why I think that I liked him as my second, as the number one real McCoy, even over Stetson Bennett, because you kind of expect Stetson Bennett to do that, right? J.J. McCarthy, you don't expect the Michigan offense to score 45 points and lose, right? So, I mean, I think he was the big deal about that. I mean, I'm sorry, a big deal in the reason that they scored 45 points. Obviously, the scoring by quarter for Michigan, 0 in the first, 6 in the second, 24 in the third, and then they capped off the fourth quarter of the game scoring 15 points. So, again, 45 go down to TCU. I got TCU in the national championship game. Let me go ahead and see what you guys are talking about in the chat because I've been running my mouth. Nothing much. But in any event, guys, I still didn't get into everything that I wanted to. I have a bunch of notes here, but I kind of got off on a tangent, good and bad, because I think that, having some real talk instead of some scripted talk is always fun. But I appreciate you guys for coming on this week. Wasn't on last week, but you're 57. You've seen a lot of football. Tabardine. Mike Stop, Manny would have killed the portal. NIL, Utah would have gotten beat 73-0. I don't know, Tabardine, I don't know if you're talking about me or the other Mike that was in the chat, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If Manny had Miami's 22 defense go up against Utah would drop 70 points. I don't know, man. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the national championship game. That's next Monday. We'll definitely talk about that next week. I'm pretty sure Gabby Rudy will be available to talk with us. He's been joining us throughout this entire time we've been doing this show. And if you guys are interested in another All-Star game, the Army All-America Bowl is on Saturday. So check that out. And then Francis Mauigoa is actually playing the Polynesian Bowl. I'm not exactly sure when that is, but that's probably this weekend as well. So still some chances to see some Hurricane recruits play in All-Star games. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and see if you can make some time for it. But guys, I'm running out of time. It's 9:07 Eastern Standard Time. Happy New Year again. Hope everybody's safe, doing well. And we'll be back next week. You've been listening to the Miami Hurricanes Watch on the 305 Sports Talk Network. Have a great week, everyone.
You've been listening to the Miami Hurricanes Watch with host Mike McCoy on the Sports Talk 305 Network. The Watch is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. Please subscribe to the Big O Radio Show on most platforms. Thank you for supporting the Miami Hurricanes Watch. Have a great night, Canes fans.